Matt Whitaker, former U.S. Acting Attorney General.
This is such a great conversation about America, our future, what's going to save our republic.
We have a great football player. Matt Whitaker is here. Matt.
They tried to bury me. They didn't realize I was a seed.
It's a touchdown, Whitaker.
Former acting U.S. Attorney General.
Under President Trump.
I'm going to be an unwavering supporter of law enforcement.
Welcome to Liberty and Justice with your host, Matt Whitaker.
Welcome to Liberty and Justice. I'm your host, Matt Whitaker. I'm here at the America First Policy Institute, America First Agenda Conference in Washington, D.C. So many great friends. I was able to grab one, and this is an interview I've been looking forward to since I started the show 25 episodes or so ago. Bob Unanue is my guest here. He is, you might recognize him, he is the President and CEO of Goya Foods. And it's an honor to have you join me today on Liberty and Justice.
Well, Matt, it's an honor to be with you, and thank you for your service to our country. And also, it's an honor to be with AFPI and Linda McMahon, Brooke Rollins, and they're putting forth values that our country was, the foundation for our country was made, and I think we're going to bring America back to greatness.
Yeah, we are. And I think, Bob, one of the things, there's several things I want to talk about in this conversation. I know that you have worked very hard on the issue of human trafficking. I know that you were, during the Trump administration, they tried to cancel you, and your business got even better. But I first want to start with your foundational story. I want to tell me about kind of where you grew up and your American dream.
Well, I was born in Jersey. They say you're from Jersey, what exit? I was born in Teaneck, New Jersey. But I've lived around the globe, actually, in Spain, Puerto Rico, California, Florida, across the U.S. Grew up going through parochial schools, but with a family, one of six, who were, based in faith. My father passed away years ago. My mother also, 1976, 1986. But they didn't instill in us our faith. Mm-hmm. Our father asked us and our mother, what's your goal in life? And, the answer was our goal in life is salvation. And that's what we really have strived to do and instill that in our children. I have 6 children and 12 grandchildren.
I'm sensing a theme here.
Right. Well, they say, are you privileged? We didn't grow up, wealthy. That came a little bit later, honestly. But I feel privileged to be part of a family that had a mother, a father, and people, parents who loved us and cared for us. And unfortunately, that today, our company in Brookshire, Texas, is in Brookshire, Texas. 70% of the kids have no father present. And I think in some way we've demeaned or taken importance away from the father, the mother. We've incentivized for many years the single family, and it's had a very destructive effect on our country. And I do feel privileged to have had that upbringing, but I also feel the responsibility to which much has been given, much is expected, and I feel the responsibility that we need to reach out and care for the children who are not cared for, that don't have that family, they don't have the privilege, not of economy, of the loving family environment.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, I know that you treat your employees very well, and how do you support them to make sure that they can, provide for their family and make sure that they can also, live the American dream based, and find success on their terms?
Well, we call ourselves La Gran Familia Goya, which means the Great Goya Family, and from the beginning, it's been a family. And as my grandfather, who started this country, he left Spain at 18 years old in 1904, finding his way to Brooklyn, to Manhattan, Duane Street, Manhattan, in 1936 when the Spanish Civil War broke out, and started bringing in products, for the Spanish population, for the Puerto Rican population in 45, the Cuban in 59, etc. Now we are the second largest Latin country in the world. Soon to be the biggest group but they say by 2050, or it could be sooner than that if the border stays open. But our philosophy has been family. So as immigrants, you become more Cuban here in the United States than in Cuba or Venezuelan, because you hang on to your traditions. You have music, food, and language that you hang on to. So as a family, more the economic compensation, and we have parties. We're big partiers. We celebrate Christmas, and we celebrate once a year we gather as a family in all of our locations, and we're all over the world. But besides the economic, we're there as a support, as a family for our employees.
That's extraordinary. So your father inherited from his grandfather sort of this the I don't know if you call it the merchant lifestyle, but certainly the food brand and the expansion of the food brand to a worldwide Hispanic food conglomerate, for lack of a better term. What were those traditions? What were those business traditions that you learned from your father, and that you're hoping to pass on to future generations?
Well, I think number one, besides faith, the work ethic. We used to joke that we worked a half a day, which is at least 12 hours, and and more than that. And my grandfather used to say, if it were easy, everyone would do it. But he came to this country to produce, to give back. He didn't come with his hands out. And so many immigrants come to this country for good, to produce and to make a difference, to find the opportunity. Unfortunately, our government is the one that has somewhat corrupted by, instead of allowing that opportunity to exist, to hand people money. Let people fish instead of giving them fish. And unfortunately, for example, the Puerto Rican population, which I'm a member of, I have Spanish roots, I have Puerto Rican roots, I have Irish roots.
We share that in common.
Yes, sir. And so, sharing those roots, being part of an immigrant group is what binds us. But we come to this country, to produce, not to be handed out. The biggest mistake we made in this country was and in the world, was to shut down the world. We kept working because we're an essential business, but all work is essential. We were fortunate enough to go to work every day and produce food that was needed at the time. We went to the White House to offer food. I made the mistake of saying the word blessed and Donald Trump in the same sentence and got in trouble for that, but we are blessed. And we were blessed by his leadership, because he brought the country back to greatness. The economy, oil independence, and now, we're growing corn to burn it in our fuel. The pricing of fertilizer has tripled. I'm going this Saturday to a convention with farmers to talk about how we can grow more food and protect our resources. We have these resources of food and fuel, our military, and we're squandering it, and we're growing corn to which is driving up prices to burn in our fuel. At the same time, we projected tremendous weakness. Our withdrawal from Afghanistan was horrible because it projected weakness, and I think it opened the door for people like Putin to walk into Ukraine, which has had another devastating effect on the food supply.
Yeah. So you mentioned the famous attempted cancellation of Goya Foods. You said you mentioned you were at an event at the White House, and you essentially said our country's blessed to have Donald Trump to be president right now. And everyone lost their mind, and they said, well, we're going to boycott Goya Foods. And were they successful in hurting you, or did you come back stronger from that experience?
Well, the left blew up. They were successful maybe in their own minds for a day or so, but just an incredible amount of outreach. I've been talking to so many people about how when we were attacked, and I was there to give away food and to be named the commissioner on the White House Commission on Hispanic Prosperity. But the AOCs of the world, the Julian Castros, Lin-Manuel Miranda, people like that, they just blew up because you're forbidden to mention God, and that is what's happening to this country. This country is being, or by a few, overtaken by selfishness, division, hatred. This woke and cancel culture is looked at me, selfishness. Our military, we have ads out for, it's all about me. It's about my gender, it's about my race, and all this other stuff. But if you, like yourself, with and all the military who have given us our freedom, not just service freedom, and sacrifice of their lives, they're not thinking about me. They're thinking about us. And we are eternally grateful and that's what, for them, for their service, for their sacrifice, and that's what made this country great.
That's so true. We stand on the shoulders of great men and women that have been willing to give the ultimate sacrifice in defense of the Republic. And the Republic is an idea, an ideal in our foundational documents. And one of those things is we the people collectively are going to determine the destiny of this country. And we elect our representatives, and if they don't represent us well, then we find a different representative that will represent us well. And we have a lot of those issues right now being played out as a society. And Bob, I think what happened and the way you fought through, sort of the attempts by the, sort of really the Hispanic elite, the people that probably, use your products, that grew up on your products, that enjoy your products. I knew you were winning before I ever met you because I went to Seed to Table, which I had Alfie Oakes on recently on this show. And I went to Seed to Table, and he had this giant display of about, it must have been everything you guys make, but it was probably 25 feet wide and had 15 feet tall, and had a big cutout of President Trump with a "Make America Great Again" hat on. And so, but he and others not only rallied to the cause, but they saw it for what it was. It was a complete overreaction that so you hadn't done anything other than you were trying to help your fellow citizen by, like you said, giving away food, doing as much as you possibly could at that moment when America was struggling, with this novel and brand new virus, that we were being told at the time was, going to end civilization. So it's such an honor to, spend some time with you, and to, every time I see you at these conferences, I always make sure I get to say hello and see how you're doing. Tell me, at this America First Policy Institute event, what have you learned? What are you hoping to learn? What are you seeing that gives you optimism and encouragement?
Well, first of all, AOC is not really, in my opinion, a real Latina. Mm-hmm. She doesn't represent the Latino community. I think someone like Mayra Flores, I'm in Texas, mm-hmm. Represents more. I mean, AOC called Mayra extreme right, and Mayra answered, well, if you consider that as Latinos we value God, family, and work, then guilty is charged. But so I see, really, again, it's the few, it's the real people of this country that are good, the many people. It's the few, or the Twitter bots that, when I got hit big time by Twitter, but the majority was these Twitter bots, these robots, or these, you get one opinion, you multiply it times a million, and all of a sudden you look like you're no good.
Right.
And so, but back to here and today, I see the, and one of the reasons I did go to the White House was not only to give food, but to approach the White House, with the commission on the White House Commission on Hispanic Prosperity, to approach the White House to say that, the Latino community it's going to be the biggest group in this country. but we have all the voices. Every nation is here, and we have the opportunity and the responsibility to direct this country, to contribute to this country, and put God, family, just like Myron said, put God, family, and work first. And I see the AFPI reaching out to the Hispanic community, to all the communities, you know, Asian, Black, you know, white, everybody. But the importance of the Latino community and the values. Newt Gingrich spoke yesterday, you know, about the agenda. And that's what the agenda is, going back to the values of this country and all the good. And we cannot let the few dictate us. We cannot be sheep. We can't go into bunkers. You know, Latinos didn't come to this country to all of a sudden be told, you got to go into a bunker. You got to be fearful. You know, you cannot work. You came to work, but you cannot work. And here's some money. We took the wealth of this nation and gave out a huge dividend and incentivized people not to work. In Spain, we have facilities in Spain. The country didn't have all that money. They gave out 70%. And they were back to work probably a little bit sooner. But states like Florida, Texas, and others, the states are the firewall between communism and democracy. We cannot have the federal government dictate everything. You know, the power should be also in the states. I mean, President Trump did not, you know, pull everything to the federal government like they're doing now. If they declare a climate emergency, basically we're going to declare a dictatorship where you can feel free to do and dictate on the American people. But the American people aren't the major cities where there's all these handouts and all these riots and destruction. So I'm going to rambling on here. But,
no, I'm enjoying this.
But I mean, I was in Miami with Elian Gonzalez when they took him. They expected the Cuban community to destroy Miami. But wait a minute, they were factors in building Miami. If you build something, you're not going to go around and destroy it. Now, if you're handed things, they don't have value. And that's why we've destroyed things in these cities.
Yeah.
But that doesn't represent America.
Right, it doesn't. And I think so much of our country is not only founded on the concepts that you said, you know, that Representative Flores stands for and said, if this is an extreme position, then guilty. But I think so much of it and so much of what I fight for every day is to protect and defend the American dream. You know, I think about you know, some of my friends and that you know, came to this country with nothing, did it the right way, did it the legal way, and built a life. You know, did and on those foundational pillars of God, family, and hard work. And you know, we need to make sure that the American dream is always protected, and that future generations can experience it. And I think that's you know, the piece that continues to be the most important. I mean, obviously God is always sovereign and in charge and does bless us, but at the same time it's each individual's responsible to put in that hard work and to, you know, sort of do what's necessary to succeed on their own terms in this country. So Bob, thank you so much for being on Liberty and Justice. Thanks for taking a few minutes.
God bless you.
And we'll look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you, Matt.
All right, thank you.